Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. Yeah. Today is November 5th, 2024. This is a special meeting of the, what do we do? What do we call it? Mid Kings River GSA. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Here.
Richard Fagundes, Mark Kyris,
Here.
Doug Verboon,
Here.
Rusty Robinson,
Here.
Richard Valley is absent.
Okay, we have 5 members present. We can conduct business today. This time, all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, salute.
To the flag of the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on now to unscheduled appearances. Any person may direct the board at this time on any item on the agenda or any other items of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 2 minutes are allowed.
I have not received any written correspondence. No one has filled out a speaker card and no one online has their hand raised.
Okay, anybody in the audience like to say anything today? Nope. Okay, we'll move on now to approval of the minutes from special meeting September 17th, 2024.
So movement, Chair.
Moved by Supervisor Neves,
Second.
second by Supervisor Robinson. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes, Mark Kyris.
Yes.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
You abstain? So four in favor, 1 abstention. Item
One
passes,
And one absent.
1 absent. Kind of nice when he's not here.
Strike that from the record, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the consent counter, all items listed on the consent counter are considered to be routed routine and will be enacted by one motion. For any discussion of any item on a consent counter, it will be removed at the request of any board member.
There's none there, Mr. Chair.
It was a test. Good job.
Good job. But you did well. You read very, very well into the record. Thank you very much. Moving right along.
Okay, and we're going to go to regular agenda item, and we have general manager update, and item B has been pulled,
Yes.
right? I got that correct?
You have that correct.
Okay.
Uh,
General
good,
manager, it's all yours.
good afternoon, board members. I thought I would provide you with general update of some of the activities and conversations which have I've been involved in over the past few weeks to help keep you aware of the many items which are being worked on. I've met virtually with all of the GSA general managers of the Tulare Lake Subbasin to discuss next steps that everybody's working on. And in particular, we discussed the current court order from the Farm Bureau case, which the state believes prohibits them from talking with the GSAs of the Tulare Lake Subbasin. In an effort to possibly get the judge to consider clarifying the court order to allow us to have discussion, the El Rico GSA general manager was going to reach out to the Farm Bureau's attorney to see if they would consider asking the judge to clarify that order, so that we could begin getting information back from the state so that we could continue moving forward with the development of groundwater sustainability plans. To date, we have not heard any additional information if the El Rico GSA's general manager's conversation with the Farm Bureau's attorney has happened, or if anything positive might result from that conversation. Another item that was discussed during that virtual meeting was that the other GSAs within the Tulare Lake Basin are currently working to create individual GSPs for each of their GSAs, and that we would all need to work together on a coordination agreement being developed, which ties the individual plans together for the sub-basin to be considered under a whole plan. My understanding from the discussion was that one of the GSAs would be sending a draft coordination agreement to all of the other GSAs for discussion, but to date, I have not received that draft coordination agreement. We will be needing to work on our own separate GSP going into the future, and we'll be needing engineering consultant assistance to be able to get that moving forward. But that'll come later. I've also met virtually with general managers of GSAs from the Kauai Subbasin, Tule Subbasin, and Tulare Lake Subbasin to discuss the idea of coordination between the subbasins concerning subsidence. I believe that this makes a lot of sense because what happens in one subbasin can impact the surrounding subbasins, in particular to the issue of subsidence. This was just an initial meeting to find out if there's an interest in possibly coordinating. And based upon the turnout of the meeting, it appears that there's an interest in coordination. We're planning to hold future meetings to continue the discussion. And as things progress, I'll keep both your board and the Stakeholder Advisory Committee aware of what is being discussed and getting direction from both of your bodies as we move forward on that. And on another note, as you can see based on upon agenda item B listed on today's agenda, we have conducted an RFQ to procure engineering services, which will assist the Mid-Kings River GSA to create a separate GSP for the Mid-Kings River GSA, as well as draft any updates needed to address concerns of the state and provide assistance with some day-to-day tasks for our GSA. The RFQ closed on October 25th, and due to the short amount of time between then and today, although I was hopeful, we have not been able to complete two of the exhibits for the draft final agreement with the recommended consultant. Therefore, I'm requesting that item B of the agenda be removed today, and I'll work to bring that back to your board as quickly as possible so we can begin getting the draft GSP with specifically for the Mid-Kings River GSA started. And that concludes my update.
Thank you. Any questions for the general manager? Seeing none, we'll move on now to item C, election of members to the stakeholder committee. Chuck, is that you?
That'll be me again. So as outlined in your agenda packet, we received 14 applications by individuals who desire to be on the Stakeholder Advisory Committee. I have prepared a table that was included in your packet so that you could see where individuals would qualify to be considered for each of the categories, both by district, as each board member will be able to select one person from their category to be a representative. And then you, as a group, will be deciding on potentially 5 other individuals, one from each of the potential categories to be selected to be on the stakeholder committee. And so I will turn it over to you to select applicants that you would like to choose. I am available for questions, though, if you have any.
Chuck, do we have any discussion initially on what that number, the total number would be? Because I know we've got up to date 14 applicants.
So we were looking for 11 primary members and 11 alternates. Based upon the there only being 14 applications, it looks like we could fill the 11 primaries, but we won't be able to fill the alternates. I have had discussions with Board Member Robinson, and the idea of the potential for a at-large alternate so that they could just fill in for anyone that's missing was a possibility. I've checked with council. They are reviewing to see if we need to revise the resolution or not. And I'm not sure if they've come to a conclusion yet.
I've been looking at it as we speak, and it doesn't reference an at-large member. Right now, it says there, will be an alternate for each of those positions. It's not that we couldn't do it, but we may want to revise the resolution to allow for that at-large member before we actually make any appointment of that kind.
And I'd be happy to revise the resolution, bring it back to you at your very next meeting, if that's the direction that your board would like to go for alternates.
So you want us to pick today from your, apparently, what do you call this?
A table, matrix,
Small for old guys. I took a picture of it. I can read it on camera.
Yeah, there's a lot of paper left, not that much ink.
Maybe you should have done it like this.
I saw it on a computer screen and I was able to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I kept trying to do that this way and it didn't work.
Pleasant Valley said no one from his district has applied yet, but he still wanted to get somebody.
There are two that qualify in his, no, I'm sorry. District 2, he has one that qualifies.
And so like, and for the city of Hanford, we have yet to receive anything. So I would, as we talked previously in the meeting today, there are some stakeholders out there that we would like to at least reach out to as a city representative.
Yes.
To see if there is an interest there on their, and it would be more of the commercial side for the city.
Yeah.
So
And the question has come of, are applications closed? I've let people know, no, we are continuing to accept applications for the stakeholder committee. We will continue to do so, as I anticipate this will, the GSA process is not a short process. It's going to be a long one, and we will likely need to replace people on that committee over time as people choose to come and go. And that way we always have a pool ready to pull from for you.
Now we pick one today.
I would request that you would pick a member for each of the districts that are available today. So districts 1, 3, 4, and 5, and then selecting 5 members from one from each of the potential categories.
Pick 2.
Pick 11.
I'm gonna pick 11.
You'll total, there would be 11. Today, I think you're looking at 9. Because there is no city representative, and I think you probably want to allow the District 2 representative to be able to pick his.
Or allow, yeah, or allow those to be alternates. You know.
Yeah.
They wouldn't,
Well, we
might
got
not have a
14.
prime,
We got
it just
14. We're gonna
depends.
need all 14 eventually.
Correct.
Mhm.
So,
No, so you really you need,
well, we're gonna start off with a tight group of 5, 6.
or
right?
11
6 or 11.
or 9.
6 initial plus 6 alternate, right? So 12. So 2 people won't get picked. Am I saying it right?
So
Pick one
There was
initial
11.
primary and
ultimately, we're looking for 11
11 is
total
goal.
primary members. Today, you have the ability to choose 9 of those members as the primary members. You could appoint the remaining 5 individuals as alternate members within those categories as well, if you choose today.
And that city representative and that District 2 representative would be all, might start as alternates.
Right.
Or or the advisory group may choose to change those. But I would hate to stop the momentum of these individuals that followed all the rules.
and that was my thought. We have 14, applicants now. If you do the 9, And then- and the 5
best
alternates. we could adopt all 14 names
Correct.
today,
Correct.
Mhm.
get it in place, get it running, and then if I want to just for
Yeah.
the city to have a representative there, and
And
with
reserve
the
those
understanding,
two.
with an understanding that they may come in as an alternate
Correct.
initially, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just having that representation.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we just need to move forward.
100% agree.
Okay. How do you want to do it?
There's
You want to start with number 1?
there's already 5 that meet the qualifications, correct?
So
Add those to the record.
do you want to start with the district appointments?
Correct. Start there. Go.
Okay, District 1,
Garrett,
Garrett.
Gilcrease,
Perfect. District 3,
Martos.
District 4, and District 5. And so now you have an option to choose between categories where you will pick members as a group. I'm going to guess that you're going to have someone from one of the first 2 categories, probably the row crops or the permanent crops, or possibly both.
Correct.
If you want to start there.
I have a question for you
Yes.
guys. So in my discussion, my understanding was each of us got a delegate, each of us got an alternate.
Correct.
And so when I had spoken to Helen Sullivan, she agreed to be an alternate. She's not here today. I don't see her. And so because of that, she's only agreed to be an alternate.
Okay.
So at this point, she, I guess, could change her mind, so at this point, I don't think it right to nominate her as a general member. And
Okay.
she's agreed only to be an alternate.
Would you like her to be your alternate then?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other districts that would like to appoint an alternate, or would you like to continue with getting the permanent members first?
Let's go permanent first,
Okay,
then we come back to alternates. So we
Okay.
might use that person as a, other way.
as a primary.
So which category you want to start with first? I can't hardly read your writing here, so.
So the categories that you have are row crops, permanent crops, confined animal operations,
Out
ag
of the
process.
people that, let's start with row crop. So out of the people that we've picked, who's left available that qualifies for row crop that we have not picked?
Keith Catano, Brian Maderos, Carl Taveldi, David Stanfield, and Matt Brown.
I'm gonna pick Carl Tavelli.
It's as a consensus on this, so it's up to your
Okay.
board as a group.
I'd like to add Matt Brown.
Maderas.
How easy this is.
Well, so we have 4 different people out of that one group, and if the last board member decides to agree with one of those picks, then that would be the majority, and that would be the individual being picked for that group.
So,
You're it.
yeah, one point of interest though, in the communications I've seen for Sebastian Silvera, he's also agreed to just be an alternate.
But he's not in row crop.
No, I know, but it just takes him out of the whole thing to begin with. I'll second on Carl Taveldi.
Okay. So we have 2 votes for Carl Taveldi and a single vote for Brian Madera, single votes on the other 3. So Carl Taveldi.
Okay,
That's
now
the-
permanent crop.
So applicants that are available would be Keith Catano, Brian Maderos, Julie Martella, Mary Lou Silvera, David Stanfield,
Who's selected?
and Sebastian Silvera. As Supervisor, I'm sorry, Board Member Robinson was mentioning, is that he's only looking as an alternate.
Yeah. He's not here, is he?
Okay.
Is Sebastian here?
But he had asked me that personally, and then also in the
Okay.
communiques, that's what I saw.
Okay.
Does that sound right, Mary Lou?
I think you need to ask him.
Okay. I don't know. So
I don't-
I'll
He
defer.
told me that specifically.
I'll defer to,
But just to stay on track for permanent crops here. So out of those choices, you want to start first, Joe? Madera, Stanfield. Who
Yeah,
else?
I'll put Maderas back in on that one.
Stanfield, Maderas, and who else is there, Chuck?
Keith Catano,
Keith Catano,
Julie Martella,
Billy Martello. You want to stick with Stanfield?
Mary Lou Silvera,
Yeah, stick with Stanfield. Mark?
Mary Lou Silvera.
Brian Maderas.
Okay, I'll pick Brian. Go three. Brian Maderas.
So Brian Maderas under permanent crop.
Okay, and now we're gonna go to confined animal operations. And we have Chip Mello, Brian Maderas, and Matt Brown.
Chip Mello was already.
And so is
accepted.
Brian Maderos. So the only one available for confined would be Matt Brown. Just point out, though, that you do not have to go in the order of the table. You can pick from any of the categories.
Right.
Oh, we don't have to go. Well,
In the order of the table, you can pick from any of the categories that you choose.
Because many of these fit several categories,
Yes.
multiple categories, and that's,
well, I think confined animal operations would be not be a walnut grower. It'd have to be a dairyman,
Mhm.
but they have both.
but they have both, right? So who do we pick? What do we say? Matt Brown?
That's the only one left that is not already on.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna say Matt Brown.
Matt Brown.
That's fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
Then the next one is processor. And Toss is already in, and we already have,
David
so we can go
Stanfield.
Stanfield here.
David Stanfield.
David Stanfield, he's here, right? David's here? Yep. I'm good with David, you go David
That's fine.
Stanfield. And then we don't have anybody for well drilling.
Notice that. It's an unfortunate.
We'll just skip that one for a second.
Either that or make them ad hoc. Can we do that?
That's an interesting question. I might have to look into that. What you could do is you could hold one spot open and not appoint it today, to solicit further, if it's very important to the board to have a well driller, then to solicit further applications from well drillers.
Yeah, I think it's very important. So, and whether or not they're driller or maintenance or whatever. But I think that a lot of those guys don't like to be involved in stuff like this, so.
Okay, well, now we're gonna go to shallow well user. And we have Chip Mello.
So if it's your board's pleasure to leave one of the categories open, you already have 4 filled spots. You would have to leave the rest remaining open to consider that.
Yeah.
I think we discussed that initially when we talked about forming the stakeholder committee, was having a representative from a well.
We should
driller.
have a sheet where we fill it out and apply the names, not take the names.
Or at least be 10 fonts so you can read.
Right. Next time, do it in English and in adult print.
It did look better on the screen. I'm sorry.
We're gonna need one anyways. That's gonna have it all with the
Correct.
proper names on it, and then who's open where we can pick and choose.
So-
This is ridiculous.
Well, and maybe we just have Chuck, type it up,
Yeah.
put it in the categories, look at it again, appoint this body the way it is. Don't,
So this is where I got confused. So we're gonna pick 4 alternates from these areas. We can pick anybody from any of these areas. I went from the beginning. Shouldn't have done that.
no, it's
And
fine.
we have one for every 6 plus these 4, that makes 11.
Correct.
That's 10.
Well,
Then you got 2.
See, this is why we
Eight-
should have had this written out to where we put someone in that spot.
Correct.
Not a blank sheet.
okay. Duly noted.
You got plenty of paper there, just write it.
I don't know, but
I can read you all of who you do have so far.
how about the Tachi Rosa Rancheria? I mean, they got one application here. We should have.
And that would fit permanent and then hospitality.
And that's Mr. Rubel, right?
Ruble?
Yes.
Correct.
Are you wanting that to be your 5th member on the
That would be fine.
groups?
Yeah.
In lieu of the well? Thumper?
Yeah. That would work.
Is that the consensus?
Okay. Okay with that, I guess. We can change it if we don't like
We
it.
can always change it.
We'll see who shows up at all the meetings.
Okay. If I could read through these and see if we could get a vote then for who is being appointed. For District 1, Garrett Gilcrease. For District 3, Mark Toss. For District 4, Andy Zonneveld. For District 5, Chip Mello. For row crops, Carl Taveldi. For permanent crops, Brian Maderos. For confined animal operation, Mark Toss. For ag processor, David Stanfield. And for Santa Rosa Rancheria, Kevin Rubel.
For correction, for confined animal, I have Matt Brown.
Matt Brown. Mark Toss is
Oh,
3.
yes, I'm sorry.
This is why if you had a cheat sheet.
If it were bigger, it would be a lot easier to read. I had them circled.
Even the circle is small.
And so if that is,
And District 2 will be what? You're gonna give them another month to find somebody?
we,
Chip Mello on there, but Chip's already been picked.
correct. So he's already out on it. So we will have to find someone else for that district as well.
All right.
Just like the city, and bring it back to you once we're able to get some additional applications.
Okay.
But if that is agreeable, if I'm speaking out of turn here, I'm sorry, but if there's a motion and a second to,
Everybody's good with that? You wanna,
So moved.
motion by Supervisor Nev, second by Supervisor Kyrus? Or
Supervisor anyway. Man.
Councilmember Kyrus?
Board member.
He's a board
Hey,
member
Madam Clerk,
today.
please call the roll.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Fagundes. Mark Kyris.
Yes.
Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Okay, the rest of you are off the hook, but still be available if people don't show up.
Correct.
This is just the beginning.
and we'll address the alternates then when we come back,
You want to do that?
or do you want to do them now?
Yeah, just keep all the alternates.
That's what I would recommend is
I
just the
just keep all
remaining
the
names,
alternates.
keep them as your.
I got lots to choose from my alternates. I got both the Silveras. Yeah, I'm good. I can pick anybody anytime.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just say whoever's left over is our alternates,
And then put them in a category.
and they can be, how many
Okay.
alternates, how many people got left over? 4?
We appointed 9, so there's 5 left.
So they should be considered into the emails, and then they could be,
Yep.
come as alternates, and they can fit in wherever they have to. That way
Okay.
we can have a meeting. I don't want to have a meeting planned for 6 weeks out and no one shows up.
I agree.
You know, if we have alternates show up, that'd be great.
That works.
Just for clarification, could you read those names? Who are the alternates?
See, it's too small for her to read too. This was not good. So we have Keith Catano.
These are alternates.
Julie Martella,
Yes.
Mary Lou Silvera,
Helen Sullivan, Helen Sullivan, Mary Lou Silvera,
Sebastian.
and Sebastian Silvera.
Man, you did good right there. Can you teach Chuck how to do that?
I'm still
Okay.
learning.
That one might, yeah.
We had a motion and a second. We all voted on it. We're good. We gonna vote on that one too? On the alternates? Yeah. We have a
So
motion.
move.
Moved by
Second.
Supervisor, Congress, Councilmember Nev, and second by Councilmember Paris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Fagundes. Mark Kyris.
Yes.
Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
As
Okay.
done officially, not by, stated by the chair.
On now to item D, potential smart water grant in coordination with Southport King GSA.
Thank you. So on November 14th, 2023, the United States Bureau of Reclamation published a funding opportunity for the Water Smart Water and Energy Efficiency Grant. This grant was released with 2 rounds of funding. Round 1 had an application due date last February, and round 2 has an application due date next week on November 13th. In conversations with General Manager of the Southport Kings GSA, we've discussed the possibility of submitting a joint application to apply for funding for this grant to help with the purchasing of water meters within both of our GSA areas. When looking into this grant, it appears to be a highly competitive process, which typically does not result in a grant being approved on the first application. That being said, in discussions with the South Fork Kings GSA General Manager, we discussed how we could make an application together while keeping expenses low for both GSAs. The South Fork Kings GSA General Manager committed to their engineering consultant providing technical assistance where needed within the grant, and I offered to write the grant application as Mid-Kings River GSA's contribution. The proposal is to write a grant application in the amount of $2 million for the purchase of water meters to be installed upon wells within each of our GSAs. If awarded, the grant would provide $1 million to be spent within each of the 2 GSAs. It's important to note that the Water Smart grant does require a match of 50% of the total grant funds. And since the grant award date is in October of 25, we're both South Fork and myself are hopeful to have an approved GSP in place together with an approved 218 election, which could pay for that required matching funds at that point. If we are successful with the grant application, I would come back to your board to request the chairperson to be authorized to sign the resolution to accept the grant. If we're unsuccessful in having a GSP and a 218 election in play by that time, you would just not accept the grant as we wouldn't have the matching funds. And so
The matching comes from the applicant
it could,
because you've got $1 million and now another matching million. That's a lot, $1,500 to $2,000 a meter. A lot of meters. And
Yeah.
everybody out here, I mean, who doesn't have meters on their wells?
nobody wants to raise their hands. I
Yeah,
understand.
admit-
Not required as of yet, right? I mean,
Technically, you have a policy in play. It's already
okay, but we have no one to monitor it.
doing the best I
I
can.
have meters. But are we going to make domestic wells have meters?
Currently, the policy in place does, but I intend to take all of the policies back through the stakeholder committee to see if any revisions want to be recommended. That might be
Well, I
something
think
that
we
gets
should reach
recommended.
out for the grant and then see what happens. To qualify, we can fine tune it. We don't have $1 million to match it, and I don't know that we need $1 million to match it. Because out of there's, I don't know how many wells we have in our district. You probably know more than I do. How
We've got a
many don't
bunch.
have meters? We probably don't have that many without meters.
We've got quite a few that don't have meters.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so what I'm looking for,
But can we expand the grant to be meter repair? So the guys that don't have meters or do have meters that need a upgrade?
I don't believe that
Well,
qualifies.
if you just say, I don't have one, I get a new one. They have.
Oh, could do that.
Yeah, you could do that.
Remove.
Because
We can upgrade meters to include, provision for telemetry,
Correct. There's a lot of things you can do.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're all in agreement to do the, apply for the grant? Do I have a motion?
Most.
Moved by Supervisor, Councilmember Robinson,
Second.
second by Councilmember Naz. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes, Mark Kyris.
Yes.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, five in favor.
Okay.
Thank you, Johnny. And then we'll move on now to board member announcements and reports. Anybody want anything to report?
The only thing a little bit more on the grant, the 2 districts are similar, but they're not size wise. If you go by acreage, it's a 60-40 ratio. If you go by well, 70-30. So should we be successful in the grant, the other obstacle that we will have to deal with is how you equitably split that up between districts. Just something on the radar screen to think about. You know, because we don't have 2 identical districts in size or well population. So we have those 2 variables that we're going to have to fix. But number one, you got to be successful in getting the grant first.
Yeah, if we get the 2 million and match 2 million, that's 2,000 meters.
Correct.
Or
I thought the match was a lot less. I thought the match.
No,
was
it's
like-
50%,
Yeah,
but,
That's 1,000 meters.
you're probably looking around 750 meters.
yeah.
We need about 750 meters.
Well, that's what the grant would fund. And then that would be split between the two GSAs.
Gatekeeper net.
Correct. And Johnny, we had that at the meeting. How many, do you remember how many wells are in each
Our estimates on the wells right now are based on the,
permits?
well, no, it's actually based on the mapping that DWR has.
Yeah,
State has, and that is, we believe it's not very
accurate, correct.
But I want to say we are in about 2,500 ag wells.
It's about 850 or so in Southport and roughly around 2,000, a little bit more than 2,000 in.
Mid-Kings.
Yeah, and I have no confidence in those numbers at all, to be honest with you. You know, that data goes back to the 1940s, and so a lot of those wells have been replaced and everything else. So I have no confidence in those numbers. I think well permitting through community development is a lot better, but it's only for the last decade. But I think, you know, I think those numbers can be refined a lot closer.
Chuck, in our county policy, when we have a well permit approved, is there a meter that needs to be on it when it's inspected to be?
Not currently.
Not currently?
Mm-mm.
Should we do that?
I'm thinking so,
That's one policy that has to be brought up.
but it has to be brought up through the board of supervisors and
Okay, we'll talk about that on the board of supervisors level. The city meters all, everything,
It
out of the
does.
ground, into the house, everything.
It does.
And unfortunately, the meters are not the same. Some measure in cubic feet, some in gallons, some in, you know,
Well,
let's see,
there's a requirement on the Mid-King GSA site, which one to order. I used it when I did mine, but I know in the hearing, what was in writing was different than what was said out loud. So I went
Correct.
off what was in writing.
And what was that? Was that cubic feet per second or was that gallons? Yeah, whatever it was, whatever it is, we need to be consistent.
I think it.
You know, we need to
Cubic
be
feet.
consistent. It's in cubic
and
feet.
gallons.
Yeah.
It's a gauge, but it has both. It has both.
As a totalizer
There's
and
there's a odometer on the bottom.
Yeah.
And tells you how much you're getting per second, acre foot, and then also has how many gallons per minute.
correct. Yeah, so the gallons per minute's important, but then the
You shave your
totalizer is what,
propeller so you get less, it spins slower.
well, that's when you throw the twine in and slow it down.
Shouldn't say that out loud.
no, no.
You don't get twine from the ground.
Yeah, but I know how to get,
Any
I
other,
know where to set the magnet.
Richard, you like to have anything to add to this conversation? Mark,
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
I'm good.
No report.
Okay,
I have a question.
yes, sir. Come on,
So,
step on up.
What
Nate?
criteria are you guys looking for when searching for an engineering firm? Like, because the last plan had an engineer, correct, that's familiar with our geology and whatnot. I don't know, is this like you guys thinking like a bid process? Like, when you select an engineering firm, I don't know what criteria you guys are actually looking for.
One that doesn't have change orders.
So we did go through an RFQ process to contract with an engineer. We had two applications received or two bids received. And we've done a review of those bids with a review committee. It was myself as well as the chief engineer for the county and the public works director, who's also an engineer, to review the bids. And the recommendation that will be coming is to go with Geosyntec, who is the Provost and Pritchard was the other applicant or bidder. But we were looking at a company that was able to provide a full range of services necessary to be able to get a groundwater sustainability plan prepared for the Mid-Kings and had knowledge of our area.
Because Provost did like a plan, right? It helped create the plan. Wasn't Provost the engineering firm that was used?
Yes.
Well, they would.
Well, partially. And I don't have the specific details on which portions were previously done. Because we've had 2 plans developed so far. And we're looking to get a third now. Well, I guess we kind of
We-
have a
we-
third. We're looking at a fourth now.
We pulled the item and we'll discuss it at the next meeting to pick the one that we're going to choose.
That's correct.
Make that the time.
Yes.
There's only 2 available right now, so we'll pick one of the 2 when everything's finalized.
And Provost and Pritchard within their proposal said that did not have the capacity to be able to write the plan. They were willing to do other functions, but not that.
Any other questions?
Clarify Chip's comment. Geosyntac was the one that didn't primarily work on the last one, right?
On the most recent plan, yes. That we're still waiting for comments from the State Water Board.
That was late.
Any other questions? Okay, everybody good? Okay, we'll go ahead and close this meeting. We have no closed session and we'll adjourn until November 19th for a regular meeting at that.
That's not going to be a
That's
meeting.
canceled.
That's going to be canceled.
December 17th.
December 17th will be the next regular meeting, Mr. Chair.
Oh.
I'll try and get the
Okay,
font
everybody
bigger on that one too.
You're probably going to cancel that?
And the
No.
next meeting will be.
No, that one will have to
17th of-
happen.
But we may have a special meeting in between
Yeah.
now and the 17th of December.
Got it. What he said. Meeting is adjourned.
Phew.